Okay, this might be not a normal video, but this will be a build for my YouTube to be posted on for what my Diablo 4 Barbarian build is, okay? The armor's kind of trash, so don't even give a shit about the armor. I only have one unique, and the rest are kind of iffy. Still working on it. But it'll take some time. Basically, we have your normal skills here. You got Frenzy. I decided to do Frenzy just because of the dual wield aspect. But while berserking, your other skills gain 6% attack speed for each stack of Frenzy you have. It's not bad, but it's pretty good, So, I almost had that maxed out, but then you go down to Whirlwind. You make sure your Whirlwind is maxed out fully. Then you go for Enhanced Whirlwind, which gain 1 Fury each time Whirlwind deals direct damage to an enemy, or 4 Fury against elite enemies. So it's not bad. Pretty good work to start off with. Then I go for immediately Furious Whirlwind. While using a slashing weapon, you have to make sure you use a slashing weapon. Whirlwind also inflicts 669% bleeding damage over 5 seconds. Well, 669 damage, but 168%. Then you immediately go down here for Tempered Fury. You max that out, increases your maximum Fury by 15%. And then you go over here, basic skills generate 36% more Fury, which this is your basic skills up here, and Frenzy is your basic skill, so whenever you attack somebody with it, you gain increased attack speed, however many stacks, including with your core, which works with slashing weapons, so it's pretty good. Combine. Then you go for Rallying Cry. I try to max this out as possible just for the resource generation bonus. Then you go for Rallying Cry, grants you Unstoppable while active. That's another good one. And then you go for Tactical Rallying Cry. Rallying Cry generates 20% Fury and grants you an additional 20% resource generation. Just so you can have more Fury and the resource generation to keep up, so you don't have to deal with always losing that generation. Then I went for damaging an enemy with a basic attack skill, increases your damage by 12% for 4 seconds. Belligerence, not bad. After that, we just go completely down, skip most of the other skills until I figure out what's good. We go for Warcry. Try to max this one out too, so that you can have the damage bonus for it, but basically, you do a Warcry, increasing your damage dealt by 19.5% for 7.4 seconds, and it affects nearby allies too. Same with, I think, Rally Cry affects allies for resource generation. So if you have like another barbarian, a necromancer stuff, it does resource generation for their essence or whatever skills they have. And then you go for Enhanced Warcry, so Warcry grants you Berserking for 4 seconds, which keyword right here for this whole entire build, keyword Berserking, remember that. And then you go to Power Warcry, so if at least 6 enemies are nearby when you cast Warcry, your damage bonus is increased by an additional 10%. It's pretty good. Then you go for this one right here. You go for Booming Voice. This is the important one. Your shout skill effect durations are increased by 20%, so it's 24% longer. I'm thinking about getting Guttural Yell, I'm not sure. This one's also a good one too, getting Raid Leader. Your shouts also heal allies for 1% of their maximum life per second, but I only do that in higher difficulties like, not expert, there's another one, give me a second.
Wreathed in fire.
Let me go over there real
The
quick.
night penitent bodies outside the city. No sense in
Anything from
causing
Penitent and above,
people will come to accept
that's a
it
good one.
once they see it's
Next one would be... Oh yeah, you go down to these ones right here, to these other passive abilities. You go over and gain 12% damage reduction while berserking, aggressive resistance, and then you get Prolific Fury while berserking. Fury generation is increased by 18%. So as soon as you go into Fury using your ability, you go into berserking while using your ability, you gain Fury generation, which is also another good one to make sure your Fury is maxed out constantly so that you can keep doing Whirlwind. Because eventually when you do no attacks with your core abilities, your Fury will slowly deteriorate until it's at 0. So you want to make sure the Fury stays up, so when you're attacking an enemy, it just keeps going and going. Not sure if this is a good one yet, but this might be a good one. You deal 3% increased damage to close enemies and gain 2% damage reduction. Still working on that one, but we'll come back later to figure that one out. Plan on maxing out all the bleed stuff over here. When I get a chance, I would do that, since slashing ability, since most of this is going to be about slashing. You're also going to want the bleeding effect abilities, because slashing causes bleeding. Next one you do, though, for ability-wise, is Death Blow. Attempt a killing strike, dealing 781 damage to enemies in front of you. If this kills an enemy, its cooldown is reset. So each time you do, if someone has at full health and they're a big, beefier, tanky person, it basically does 781 damage, and then goes on a cooldown. Like I think it's like a 17-second cooldown. But if you do get a kill with it, it immediately resets. So it's another good one. Then you go for Enhanced Death Blow. Death Blow deals 200% increased damage to bosses, so any bosses gets hit with it, it does pretty good damage. Then you go for Fighter's Death Blow. If Death Blow damages at least one enemy, gain 20% Fury for the Fury gain. Gonna need that for the Whirlwind build. You can do Duelist. Attack speed is increased by 6% while using one-handed weapons. I'm using one-handed weapons for Frenzy, so that's another good one. You also want to do dual-wield ones. Next one you do is Wrath of the Berserker. Explode into rage, knocking back surrounding enemies and gaining Berserking and Unstoppable for 10 seconds. Unstoppable just makes it to where you can't be stunned, feared, anyone. It says down below, characters have all control impairing effects removed and prevented, so yeah, anything like that. And then Berserking grants 25% increased damage and 15% increased movement speed. This effect lasts up to 5 seconds, blah blah blah. But yeah, this is another good one to pick. You go down here. While Wrath of Berserker is active, gain 20% increased movement speed and increased Fury generation. That's another good one for the Fury generation. And you scroll all the way down to the last one, Wrath of Berserker active. Every 50 Fury you spend increases Berserking's damage bonus. So that's not bad, by 25% up to 100%. I got told that Iron Maelstrom, I think it's called. I got told that this was a good one, but I wouldn't use this one personally for this type of build I'm going for. Another one is called the Ancients. This one's another good one. This one also highly focuses on Whirlwind. Talic spins in a whirlwind, rapidly attacking enemies for 318 seconds, but basically summon 3 agents to aid you in your battle for 6 seconds. Corlic leaps at enemies, dealing 438 damage, and swings his weapon in a frenzy, dealing 158 damage per hit. But we would focus on Talic, but since Call of the Ancients I don't really care about too much, it just does attack speed, increased damage, and later on, Talic just slows enemies rather than gaining stuff. You gain 10 Fury each time Corlic damages an enemy with Frenzy C, but we don't really want Corlic because he does leap and he just flails his weapon around like a menace. So yeah, and then I have this one right here, Unconstrained. Berserking's damage bonus is increased to 60% while not healthy. Well, it just gives us the damage bonus for Berserking is increased by 60% permanently. While not healthy, you are always Berserk and gain a 30% physical damage reduction bonus. So basically, as soon as we're not healthy, as soon as we start losing health, we always go Berserk and gain 30% physical damage reduction, so it's not bad. But you have a choice to choose. You can either go for that one, or you can go for Gushing Wounds, which when causing an enemy to bleed, you have a chance equal to your critical strike chance to increase the bleed amount by 70%, and also increased by 100% of your critical strike damage bonus. Overpowering a bleeding enemy creates an explosion that inflicts 778 bleeding damage over 5 seconds. It just depends on what you feel like. If you're wanting to go for the more the berserking side, which my build heavily focuses on berserking and slashing, So, but mainly berserking. So I would stick with unconstrained, but if you want to go more the bleeding side than berserking, you go with gushing winds. But other than that, I don't have Paragon unlocked yet, so whenever I get a chance, I will let you guys know when I have the Paragon stuff for it ready for you guys and go over and fix that, so it'll be a lot better. But whenever I get that, I will do a video on the Paragon only for the Barbarian. Other than that, that'll be for another video another time, but thank you all for taking the time and watching this. Since that, you can give this build a try. As I said, most of my builds are not great. They're good. They're great for me. Pretty sure they're not great for you, because it heavily relies on armor, which I'm going to find the armor for it so I could do another video for the armor. And then also the build, if you don't like the Whirlwind build, if you don't like that at all. I did have a Thorns build. I will hopefully go over and create another Barbarian doing a Thorn only, so I can show you the Thorns. Thorns is pretty fun. Anything, just basically anything that touches you just instantly fucking dies. Other than that, it's not bad, but thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you all next time. Peace out, y'all, and stay weird.